Okay, guys, I want you to stop and pay attention to what I'm about to say, because most people are completely missing what just happened. Netanyahu posted a video this week sitting in a cafe in Jerusalem, holding up both hands to the camera, counting his 5 fingers. Then Trump sent his own personal envoy, Ambassador Mike Huckabee, to physically stand next to Netanyahu on camera so the world could see him breathing. Then Netanyahu had to post a second video, then a third, a 76-year-old prime minister of a nuclear-armed state, in the middle of a war, counting his fingers on camera for the internet. Now, here's my question. Did Iran fire a missile at Netanyahu? No. Did Iran assassinate him? No. Netanyahu is alive. The fact checkers confirmed it, the cafe confirmed it, Huckabee confirmed it, and yet Iran won. Not on the battlefield, not with a missile. Iran won with a single blurry video frame. And today I'm going to show you exactly how that is possible, what it tells us about this war, and why the weapon Iran just used is more dangerous than any ballistic missile in their arsenal. Because once you understand this, you will never look at this war the same way again. Okay, before we get into the Netanyahu situation, I need you to understand one fundamental concept, because without this, you will misread everything I'm about to tell you. There are 2 kinds of war. Okay? The first kind is a physical war. You destroy infrastructure, you kill soldiers, you take territory. This is the war you see on TV, the missiles, the explosions, the airstrikes. It is real, but it is only half the story. The second kind of war is a psychological war. You destroy confidence. You create doubt. You make the enemy's population question whether their own leaders are still in control. You make the world's investors question whether the region is stable. You make the enemy spend enormous energy and political capital, simply proving that they still exist. Okay? Write this down. The goal of psychological warfare is not to kill your enemy. The goal is to make your enemy prove they're not already dead. And here's what's really important to understand. In the information age, these 2 wars are happening simultaneously. Every missile that Iran fires at Israel is also a psychological operation. Every video Netanyahu posts in response to a rumor is already a victory for Iran. Because think about it, every minute Netanyahu spends counting his fingers on camera is a minute he is not projecting strength, authority, and invincibility. He is playing defense. And in information warfare, the side playing defense is already losing. Does that make sense? All right, so let me walk you through exactly what happened. And I want you to see this not as a rumor story. I want you to see this as a military operation, okay? It starts on March 12, 2026. Netanyahu holds his first press conference since the war began. And in the video, there's one single frame, literally a fraction of a second, where the camera angle and the lighting make the muscle at the base of his little finger look like a 6th digit, okay? A thing called the hypothenar eminence, an anatomical bulge that every human hand has. Under normal circumstances, nobody notices, nobody cares. But this is wartime. People are watching every frame for any sign that something is wrong. And immediately accounts that analyze Iranian military news start amplifying the image. 6 fingers. That's what AI does. This video is fake. Netanyahu is dead. The post spreads to Instagram. Within 24 hours, an Instagram account with 13.5 million followers reposts it. The rumor hits TikTok, X, Bluesky, Facebook simultaneously. A single video clip of the 6-finger moment gets viewed over 8 million times. Now here's the crucial part. Netanyahu's team panics. Okay? They release a response video from a cafe in Jerusalem. Netanyahu holds up both hands, 5 fingers. He makes a joke in Hebrew, dead for coffee. It means he loves coffee. Funny, right? Except it isn't, because now Grok, the AI chatbot, flags the cafe video as AI generated. Grok says 100% deepfake, and the cafe video that was supposed to end the rumor now becomes the rumor. Then Trump, the president of the United States, sends his ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, to stand next to Netanyahu on camera and personally verify that the Israeli prime minister is alive. And Netanyahu has to say on camera, "Yes, Mike, I'm alive." We shake hands with 5 fingers. The president of the United States had to send someone to check whether the leader of his most important ally in the Middle East was still breathing. Let me repeat that because it matters. That is not a normal event in geopolitics. That is a signal to the entire world that doubt has penetrated the most powerful military alliance on the planet. Now, who created that doubt? Not a missile, a single blurry video frame, and Iran's information networks did the rest. Okay, but here's where most people stop their analysis. They say, okay, it's just misinformation, fact checkers debunked it, it doesn't matter, and that's completely wrong. Because whether the rumor is true or false is actually irrelevant. The damage is already done regardless. Let me explain why. Think about what this rumor achieved in 72 hours. Number one, it consumed enormous time and political capital from the Israeli government. Every senior official, every spokesperson, every diplomat had to spend their day talking about Netanyahu's fingers instead of talking about Israeli military objectives. The narrative of the war shifted, even temporarily, from Israel is winning to is the Israeli prime minister even alive? Number two, it introduced doubt into the markets. Investors in the Gulf region, investors in Israeli tech, investors in energy futures are watching this. And what do investors do when they detect uncertainty around a war leader? They hedge. They move money. They slow commitments. You don't need to kill Netanyahu to shake investor confidence in Israeli and American power. You just need enough people to ask the question. Number three, and this is the most important, it proved that Netanyahu is not invincible, okay? Remember what I said at the beginning of this war about the American empire. The entire system of American power in the Middle East rests on the perception of invincibility. America and its allies must appear unchallengeable. The moment people start believing there are alternatives, the system begins to crack. A dead Netanyahu or even a rumored dead Netanyahu sends one signal to every actor in the region. These people can be reached. They are not gods. They are not untouchable. Iran understands something that American military doctrine keeps missing. You don't have to actually destroy the perception of power. You only have to make people question it. And once the question is out there, it does the work for you. Every person who saw that six-finger video, even if they dismissed it, now carries a small seed of doubt. That seed is planted. You cannot unplant it with a fact check. Does that make sense? Now, let me give you historical context because this is not a new weapon. What Iran is doing has a long and successful history. In World War II, the Nazi regime ran psychological operations against Allied commanders. They spread rumors that General Patton had been killed, that specific divisions had defected, that American morale had collapsed. None of it was true, but it forced the Allied command to spend resources combating the narrative. It introduced tactical hesitation at critical moments. That hesitation cost lives. In the Vietnam War, the North Vietnamese understood that they could not defeat American military power on a conventional battlefield. So they fought the psychological war instead. They flooded the American public with images and narratives of American defeat, corruption, and endless cost. They didn't need to win militarily. They needed to collapse American political will. And they succeeded. Iran has studied this history. Iran has been under American pressure since 1953, over 70 years. They have had 70 years to understand exactly how American power operates and exactly where it is vulnerable. And what is America's greatest vulnerability in this war? Not military hardware, not interceptor stockpiles. America's vulnerability is the narrative of invincibility. The story that American power and its allies are unchallengeable. And what Iran just did with a single blurry video frame is attack that vulnerability directly at almost zero cost. Okay? So what does this mean for you? Why does this matter to someone watching this video? Here's the thing you need to understand. The Netanyahu deepfake saga is not an isolated internet moment. It is a preview of how this war is going to be fought going forward. And the consequences of information warfare are not confined to the battlefield. As this war continues, you're going to see more of this AI-generated videos of destroyed aircraft carriers, fake footage of American bases in flames, fabricated audio of military leaders ordering retreats. And every single one of these, even when debunked, will do three things. It will slow decision-making, it will move markets, and it will erode the confidence of ordinary people in their governments. That erosion of confidence hits you directly. Energy markets move on uncertainty. Insurance rates in the Gulf are already tripling. Global shipping is rerouting. Every time a major rumor circulates, the cost of doing business in this region goes up. And that cost eventually lands on your grocery bill, your energy bill, your portfolio. Information warfare is not something that happens to governments in faraway places. In a globally connected economy, it happens to all of us. All right, so let's bring this together. Here's what I want you to take away from today. Netanyahu is alive. That is confirmed. The six-finger claim was false. That is confirmed. The cafe video was real. That is confirmed. And Iran has already won this round, not because Netanyahu is dead, but because Iran forced the most powerful military alliance in the world to spend 3 days proving their leader was breathing. They forced the US president to send a personal envoy for a proof of life verification. They forced Netanyahu to count his fingers on camera for 51 million viewers. They shifted the global conversation from Israeli military victories to Israeli leader mortality. They achieved all of that with a camera angle and a lighting effect. Now imagine what they can do when they deliberately construct these operations. And they will, because this one worked. The question I want you to think about is this. If Iran can achieve this level of disruption with an accidental visual artifact in a real video, what happens when they deliberately engineer these moments at scale? What happens when the rumor is not about fingers, but about a carrier group, not about a coffee shop video, but about a ceasefire that never happened? That is the battlefield this war is increasingly moving to. And right now, the side that understands that battlefield better is not the one with the aircraft carriers. Think about that. If you want me to go deeper on how Iran's information strategy is connecting to the economic war, the petrodollar, the yuan oil deals, the psychological collapse of the Gulf safe haven narrative, let me know in the comments because we have a lot more to cover. And this story is far from over.